Hi everyone, I'm Wen, your instructional designer. In today's tutorial video, we will talk about hacks and tips for using Canvas Gradebook. Gradebook in Canvas is a centralized hub where you can view and manage students' grades for assignment, quizzes, and discussions. You may not be aware of that, but Canvas recently made some update to the grades. They changed the layout, merged some tabs, and added a few more functions that I think it can be very useful. And I'm going to be covering a lot of the stuff in this video as shown on the right side of the screen. Or you can just refer to the navigation bar at the bottom of this video and skip to the part that you're mostly interested in. So before we delve into the tips and hacks, let's first take a look at the basics and layout of the gradebook updated after August. As you can see in my screen, we're currently in my practice course. First, let's click on the assignment tab in the course navigation bar. I already created a few assignment and assignment groups in here. I have an orientation module with a survey that worth 10 points, but I don't want to count it towards the final grades, so I weighted the orientation assignment group to account for 0% of the total score. I also have module 1 and module 2. Each module have 3 separated assignments and weigh 50% of the final score. And then we will click the grades in the course navigation bar to access the gradebook. This is the default view of the gradebook. It displays a list of all student and assignment in my course. And don't worry, these are 4 fake student accounts that I just created just for this course. We're currently looking at a default display order. In here, you can see we have the orientation survey at the front because orientation module, it is listed at the top of the module section. Then we have all of assignment for module 1 and module 2 displays in here. And then we also have the last 4 columns in here, indicating the total score for each module and then the total score of the whole course. If you don't want to view the total score for each module, you can click the setting icon, select the view options, and then check hide the assignment group totals. At the top of the gradebook, we have what is called the global sorting options. They used to have views and action tabs in the same area, but after a recent update, these 2 tabs were merged into other areas, and we'll be talking about this later in this video. If you click the gradebook, you can change your gradebook view to traditional, learning mastery, and individual. You won't need the learning mastery gradebook unless you set up the masteries in your class. Otherwise, just stick to the traditional gradebook view. Underneath are the search bars, which is where part of the old view tab merged into. You can search by your student name or by the assignment name. You can also click the filters and view by the following rules. In Canvas' recent August update, they added the status filter, meaning that you can view assignments by their status, such as late, missing, resubmitted, dropped, and excused. Also, we can change the list of statuses, but this needs to be done by an admin account, which means that if you wanted to add a 6th status, such as extended, please contact us to get it sorted out. The old view tab also has a function called arrange by, which is now in the setting area. Let's move your cursor to the top right of the gradebook and click the setting icon. Then click view options. And you can arrange the default view of your gradebook by these different orders. Please note that below are the statuses, which are the statuses you can select in the filter section. You can also click the pen icon at the right to change the color of the statuses. For example, I don't want the color of excused to be too similar to dropped, and I'll change it to purple. Or you can also choose any color you want if you know the hex code. In here, I'm going to put CFACB3C. The changes you made in the setting will be applied to all assignments in your course. If you want to make changes to a single assignment, click the kebab icon, the 3-dot icon, next to each of assignment, and you can make the relevant changes or the view or filter just to this specific assignment. Let's talk about the Canvas Gradebook tips and hacks that will make your life easier. So the first thing I really wanted to mention is that you can automatically apply a score for an unsubmitted assignment. So in order to do so, click the setting icon and then go to the late policy tab, which is something I don't really understand why Canvas chunked these two things together. But anyway, in this tab, so check the box that says automatically apply grades for missing submissions, and then enter the percentage that you want the assignment to be. I would just enter 0 and then hit apply setting. And here's the funny thing. After you refresh it, you can see in the screen that we have Sean that did not submit the module 2 discussion, but nothing has changed yet. And the reason for that is that we haven't set a due date for this assignment, so which is why it is not labeled as missing. So to fix that problem, you can either click the icon in the cell and open the grade detail tray, then you can manually select the missing status, then the 0 point will apply immediately. Or you can go back to the setting of this assignment and set a date. And then after you save it and refresh the gradebook, and you'll see the 0 point has been applied to this assignment. So one more really important thing I do want to mention about is that in the past, Canvas does have a setting that we can click next to the total score column that you can set the unsubmitted assignment as 0. However, now this tab is gone and has been removed and was secretly merged into this function. So which means that if you don't check this automatically apply grades for missing submission and you don't have any point enter in this cell, it just leave it empty, it will not count towards the final grade. For example, I'll uncheck this box and let's just come back to Sean's grade, and you can see that his final grade is 100%, which is not true. So that is a problem. So please make sure that you have all of the cell filled instead of leaving them empty. Otherwise, these points will not be counted towards the final grades, and then your cohort may end up having like a really high score than what they actually should be. Here we're talking about the second tip, which is to have Canvas do some of your grading job for you. You can actually use the default grading tool to assign a grade to any assignment. To do that, simply click the kebab icon next to an assignment and then select set default grades. As you can see in my screen, I have 3 students that hasn't submitted anything yet, and I just want to give them 5 point to it. I'll enter 5, and you can also check the box to override the pre-existing grades. I don't recommend you to do that, and please do not do that. But I'll check it just to show you, and then we'll hit set default grades, and you see everyone's score now become 5. So for the next tip, we'll quickly talk about final grade override. It allows you to enter a final grade for student that is different from the grade automatically calculated by Canvas in the Canvas book. To do that, click the setting icon and then select advanced. Then check allow final grade override. If you don't have this option in your course, or if the box does not allow you to check, please go to your course setting and then check out the feature and make sure that you have that function turned on. And then after you hit save, then there will be a new column called override next to the total score column. In this course, I set all of the 6 assignment, the total point to be 100 point, just make it easy to show you. So in the cell, you can enter point or percentage here, where you can just enter like A or B or C. The interesting thing is once I enter A, it is giving me this alert. It's because I haven't turned on the grading scheme for this course yet. Please note that the course grading scheme and assignment grading scheme are different. Even if I haven't turned it on the course grading scheme, I can still enter a letter grade in an assignment, but then the final score will still show up as a percentage. So in order to turn on the course grading scheme, you need to go to setting and then scroll all the way down to here and click this box to enable the course grading scheme. and make sure you click the update course detail before you leave this page. And then now you can just go back to the gradebook and you can see where we have the letters like next to the final percentage score. In the override cell, you can now enter either the percentage or the grading scheme. Please make sure letter grade will result in the lower bound of the grading scheme, and a percentage is just going to retain as the override score. Since we talk about the final grade override, I'll also talk a little bit about how to move the final grade column to the front. So in a lot of cases, like if you have a lot of assignment in your course, you have to scroll all the way down to the end of this table to see the final grades. But you can bring the final grade column to the front of the table by simply click the kebab icon, then select move to front. Unfortunately, you won't be able to move the override column to the front. It just have to stay at the end of this table. And talking about moving the columns, I also want to share the fifth tip, which is how to resize and reorder the assignment column. So you probably already know about this, but for those who don't know, you can actually resize the column width of assignment by simply stretching the edge of a column in the first row. You can also drag and drop an assignment to where you want. Please note that you can only do these two actions in the first row. If you put your cursor in the other rows, it just won't work. The next tip is a recent update that just became effective this past September, and I think is very useful because now you can submit an assignment on behalf of your student. In order to do that, you need to first find the relevant cell. For example, Charlie in here, he was having internet issue. He cannot access Canvas, so he emailed his assignment to you, and you can click the icon to open the grade detail tray, and then you can click here to submit an assignment for Charlie. So please note that this is only working if you set your assignment submission type as file upload or text entry, and you can't really do this for quiz or other type of assignment. For now, let's go back to the gradebook view and take a look at this assignment. You can see that we have some score 100% of the total point, but some are not that good. And I want to send messages to those who score lower. And I will click the kebab icon next to this assignment and then select message student who. You have the option to send to those who hasn't submitted anything, or you can send to those who hasn't been graded and send them a notice, something like is coming, you get your feedback this Sunday, etc. You can also send to those score less than or more than a certain amount. In this example, I will send to those score less than 10, and you can see that there are 2 students, and then you can click to see all of the recipient. These are Sean and Jason. And I can write something like, you have the option to submit this assignment again, then hit send. This will send and Canvas inbox messages to them individually. They won't know who else in the class got the same email. The 8th helpful tip is to hide the unpublished assignments. Let's quickly go to Assignment tab and unpublish 2 assignments. And I'll just pick these 2 quizzes that worth 40 points. And we'll go back to the grades. You can go to the setting, view options, then uncheck the show unpublished assignment. Then these 2 assignments are gone. Another tip that might be useful for you is to use the note. Go back to the setting icon. In View Options tab, check the note box. It will add a note column right behind the student name column. Then you can click on it and add a note that is specific to this person. Also, this note is not visible to them, so don't worry about that. Your student will see what you wrote about them. For demonstration, I will click the cell next to Charlie and write, will not be in class during November 11 to 15. Submit other assignment instead. The last thing we'll talk about is how to delete the test student account. As you can see in the screen, I have 4 students here and a test student, because whenever I use the student view to examine the course, it will automatically create a test account. If you want to delete this account, you need to go to the course setting, then select the tab that says sections, then select the name of this course. If you have only one section, then it will just be the name in your course code by default. Then locate the test student account and then remove the user. Please don't delete a real student account. Alright, and that's all for today's Gradebook Hacks and Tip tutorial. We have one last tip to help you save time and hassle when working with Canvas, which is to subscribe the OLC account. You can click the subscribe next to the account name, and we will be publishing on-demand tutorials that cater to your need. Thank you, and see you online.